So Wing Chun was the base. Wing Chun was the base. And so what he did after that, when he came to America, he was exposed to many other martial arts. Like, for instance, when he was raised in Hong Kong during that time in the 50s, there was no karate in Hong Kong, no judo in Hong Kong, for example. So when he came over to the United States, he was exposed to more of those martial arts during that time. In fact, he took judo for maybe a semester at University of Washington, and there was the story that Jesse Glover, his first student, mentioned to me that his exposure to karate was at a tournament that they went to in Washington, and they saw, I believe the practitioner's name was Nishiyama. They saw him perform at that time, do a demonstration. And Nishiyama was one of the better karate kickers of the day, and so he was very impressed to see what he had to offer back then. Wing Chun does not have nearly the type of kicking that you would have like in karate or taekwondo, so I think that kind of drew him to it. But a real eye-opening moment for Bruce was he was feeling pretty good about himself, and others thought he was pretty darn good too. Even in the Seattle period, he could dominate his fellow students and practitioners. So when he moved to Oakland, there was a challenge to him, and they had a match. So the challenge was that they sent another martial artist to challenge Bruce and to say, you can no longer teach non-Chinese. And so they said, if we're going to have this match, and if you lose, then you can no longer teach them. If you win, well, then I guess you can, right? And so they were going about, and they came to Bruce's school to lay out the challenge. And so then the next thing they said was, okay, we're going to set all the rules. And Bruce was like, wait, hold on a second here. You come to my school, you challenge me, and now you're trying to set the rules. No. I'm going to set the rules, and I say, there are no rules, okay? And so then they came to stand off and to have their challenge. And so they had it. And what ended up being, according to Linda, was it started becoming a running match. Because the person started running away from Bruce because Bruce was really overwhelming him. In fact, they said it was kind of comical because the way the school was set up was there were these, doors to one room and doors to another room, and it was like a Laurel party or whatever you call film. Go running into one room, running out the other room, and this and that. Finally, Bruce tackled the person down and then made him submit, and then they went on their way. And when Linda went to see him, saw him sitting on the back steps, a chin in his hand, and Linda was saying, is everything okay? She thought he should have been pleased with what had happened. And he was not pleased. He said, it took way too long. I should have been able to deal with him within seconds instead of 3 minutes. I should have been able to handle him in 30 seconds but because of the situation that was presented, I had to chase him around, and I almost ran out of gas. I'm really tired now. And so that was really a wake-up call for him to drive him even further. Now, I would say Bruce was already on that path of improvement, but that was really a springboard that made him drive himself even that much further towards more efficiency, to being in even better physical shape. It really drove him to do that. Now, I know there are some other sides to this story, and this and that, but Linda was there, and I really value her opinion on it. All I can say is this, is that if the challenge was about, if you lose this match, you'll no longer teach non-Chinese, Bruce was still teaching non-Chinese, so we'll leave it at that then. But yes, that was one of the big turning points in Bruce's development.
So how did the evolution of stance change? The stances?
The evolution? So Bruce's original martial art, the Wing Chun, very much relies on the resting on your rear leg. Okay, and because when you view Wing Chun, it very much waits for the opponent to attack. You counterattack, and then and then you straight blast the person, for example. But when you are dealing more that you want your technique to be more offensive, or you might attack the person, you need to have your positioning and your balance such that you can get off the blocks faster, like a sprinter. So he started to look to things like boxing initially, but fencing. Fencing really showed him how to get off the blocks quicker. You think about a fencer who takes their single thrust, they really have to have their feet in a certain positioning so that they can really get past, let's say, 4 feet within a split second. They have it down to a science. In fact, what was interesting, through my research, one of the appendixes in the book is about biomechanics and how biomechanics has proven the validity of Bruce's thinking in martial arts. He used to work for Nike, and in the 2008 Olympics, Nike was chosen to do many of the athletes' shoes, of which one of them was a fencing shoe. So he sent me a pair of them to try out and to, get my feeling about them. And I said, boy, when I related it to kicking. So when I was kicking, when you kick, to get your perfect alignment of your kick and all your energy directed solely into your target, you kick with your heel, the point of the heel, okay? But then you have it like a bullet in a sense. Everything's being centered off of that one point of the heel. So I said, boy, when I kick with those shoes, I don't feel anything. I don't feel any feedback coming back to me. Everything, it's like all the energy is going into the target. He goes, oh, I'm glad you recognize that, because we designed the shoe that way, because as a fencer, when a fencer does their thrust and their footwork, they land on the heel before they roll when they thrust with their foil. And that, when they do all their measurements with the biomechanist, when they design the shoe, that's one of the most powerful foot movements in all of athletics, is that landing of the heel for a fencer compared to all the other movements in the athlete world today. So Bruce fencing was very much an influence on him there. Okay.